In this video, I'll show you how to create a contact form in Excel using VBA, with the ability to add and save a profile picture. I click Add Picture to select an image. Then I fill in the contact details and click Save. The data is stored in Excel, and the image is saved automatically in the Images folder inside the workbook. To find a contact, I enter the name and click Search. The form automatically loads the contact details and the profile picture. That was the demonstration. Now, I'll explain how the user form and the VBA code work. You start by opening Excel and creating a new workbook. Next, you click on File. Then, you select Save As and click Browse. Choose the folder where you want to save your project. Enter a file name. In the Save As Type drop-down list, select Excel Macro-Enabled Workbook. Saving the file with the .xlsm extension is required to run VBA macros. Click Save. Now, let's set up our spreadsheet by creating the column headers. In the first row, type name in A1, email in B1, phone in C1, and country in D1. Now, let's rename the sheet. Double-click the tab at the bottom and type Contacts. Now, let's switch to Visual Basic. Click on the Developer tab, then select Visual Basic. Once the window opens, we'll create our interface. Click Insert, then choose UserForm. Simply drag the edges to resize the interface however you like. Now, let's populate our user form with the necessary components. First, add a text box and name it Text Search. Then, add a command button, name it BTN Search, and set the caption to Search. Next, add an image control. Drag it to resize it as you like, and name it IMG Profile. Now, add another button named BTN Add Picture with the caption Add Picture. Add a label and set its caption to Name. Copy and paste it 3 times to create the others. Change their captions to email, phone, and country. Now, let's add the input fields. Place a text box next to name and name it Text Name. Add another for email named Text Email, one for phone named Text Phone, and finally one for country named Text Country. Add 2 more buttons at the bottom. Name the first one BTN Save with the caption Save, and the second one BTN Clear with the caption Clear. To finish the design, select all components except the image. Go to the Properties window, click on Font, and adjust the style and size to your liking. Finally, click Run or press F5 to see the result. To wrap things up, let's name the user form Contact Form and set the caption to Contact Form for a professional look. To make the interface functional, let's start with the Add Picture button. Double-click it now to open the code. First, we declare a variable f as a file dialog. We set it to a file picker so the user can browse their computer. We set the window title to Select an Image. Next, we use filters.clear to ensure the file window starts fresh by removing any previous file types. Then, we use filters.add so that only our specific image formats, like JPG, PNG, and GIF, will appear. Once the filters are set, we use the Show method to open the dialog box. If the user selects a file and clicks OK, which returns a value of -1, the code inside the if statement will execute. Inside this condition, we use Load Picture to display the selected file directly in our IMG profile component. Finally, we store the file path in the tag property, which is a hidden way to remember the image's location for later use. Now, let's run the macro and click the button to see the result. As you can see, the image is successfully loaded into our form. Moving on to the Save button. Simply double-click it to access the code editor. Let's break down the logic for saving our data. First, we define WS to point to our Contacts worksheet. We calculate the variable R to find the next empty row, ensuring each new contact is added right at the bottom. Let's break down this specific line so you understand exactly how it works. WS rows count. This represents the total number of rows in Excel, over 1 million. So, we are starting from the very bottom of the sheet. Cells 1. This tells the code to look specifically at the first column, which is column A. End Excel up. This acts like the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+ up arrow. It jumps up until it hits the very last cell that contains data. Row +1. Once that last used row is found, we simply add 1 to target the empty row right below it. Next, we transfer the values from the name, email, phone, and country text boxes into the corresponding cells of that row. Now, watch how the data travels from the form to our table. We map each field one by one. The name goes into the first column, the email into the second, followed by the phone number, and finally the country. By using our variable, R, we ensure every piece of information lands exactly in the right cell on our new row. Now, let's look at how we handle the profile picture. First, we have this if statement. It checks if the tag property is not empty. This is a safety measure. The code for saving the picture will only run if a file has actually been selected. If there's no image, the code simply skips to the next part. We declare 3 variables: folder for our directory, dest path for the final location, and ext to store the file extension. We define the folder using this workbook path. This ensures that images folder is always created in the same location as our Excel file. Now, pay attention to this part. If dir folder equals empty. This line checks our computer to see if the images folder already exists. If the code can't find it, the mkdir command triggers, just like you see here, to automatically create the folder for us. This means your application is smart enough to set up its own database structure without you having to do it manually. Once our folder is ready, we need to handle the file itself. We use the mid function combined with instrref to look at the file path from right to left. Its job is to locate that very last, the one just before the format name. This allows us to extract the original extension, like .jpg or .png. Why do we do this? It's essential to keep the format exactly as it was. By capturing the extension, we ensure the file remains valid and readable by Windows, preventing any corruption when we save it under its new name. Now that we have the extension, we can build the full destination path for our file. We take our folder path, add a backslash, and name the file img_ followed by the row number R. At the end, we attach the ext variable we just extracted. This combines everything into one clean string, like C. Your project images img_5.jpg. By naming it this way, we guarantee that every single contact has a unique image name that matches its position in our Excel table. No confusion, no overwriting. With the destination ready, we use the file copy command. It takes the original image from the tag and physically places a copy into our new folder. Finally, we update the IMG profile to show this new saved version and store this permanent path back into the tag. This ensures our form is now looking at the official saved file, not the temporary one. To wrap things up, we need to get our form ready for the next entry. First, a message box pops up to give the user a clear confirmation: contact saved successfully. Next, we go through each component, from the search box to the name, email, phone, and country, and set their values to an empty string. Finally, we clear the profile picture using load picture, and empty its tag. And that's it. Our form is now completely blank and perfectly prepared to receive a new contact. Before we move forward, let's add a clear button. Its purpose is simple but essential. It allows the user to reset the entire form in one click if they make a mistake or want to start a new entry. To save time, we don't need to rewrite everything. Since we already created a reset sequence inside our Save button, we can simply copy those lines and paste them here into our new procedure. As you can see, this code sets every text box, from search to country, back to an empty string. Finally, we call load picture without any file path and clear the tag, which instantly removes the profile photo from the display. This small addition greatly improves the user experience by making the form quick and easy to manage. Now, let's look at the search button. This is the brain of our app, allowing us to retrieve any contact instantly. We start by defining our worksheet and finding the last row, just like we did before, to know exactly where to stop searching. Before we start searching, we need to set up two important tools. We declare I as our counter. It will act as a pointer that moves from row to row through our data. We create a special true or false variable called found. We start by setting it to false. Think of this as a signal light. It stays off until the moment we actually find a match in our list. This setup ensures that if we finish our search without finding the name, the program will know exactly what happened. Now, the search begins. For I equals 2 to last row, our pointer, I, starts at the second row, skipping the headers, and will visit every single line until the very end. This line is the check. It compares what you typed with what's in our Excel list. To make it perfect, we use two tools. LCase, it ignores capitalization. It converts everything to lowercase so that John and John match perfectly. Trim, it ignores accidental spaces. It clips off any extra spaces at the start or end of your text. By combining both, we ensure that our search is flexible and much more user-friendly, preventing simple typing errors from breaking the search. Once a match is found, the program immediately pulls the information back into the form. We map the text boxes to the corresponding columns. The code takes the values from row I for name, email, phone, and country, and displays them instantly. Now, let's look at how the program finds the correct photo for the contact. First, we define a string called folder. We point it to the images subfolder located exactly where this Excel file is saved. Next, we declare fname to store the name of the image we are looking for. We use the dar command to scan the folder. We tell it to look for a file named img_ followed by the specific row number I. Notice the dot asterisk at the end. This is a wildcard. It tells VBA, find this image regardless of its format, whether it's a.jpg, .png, or .gif. This makes our search engine incredibly flexible, as it automatically adapts to whatever image format you saved earlier. Once the dar function has finished its search, we need to make sure it actually found something before trying to display it. We use if fname is not empty. This checks if the file name is not empty. In other words, does this photo actually exist in our folder? If the file is found, we combine our folder path with the file name to get the exact location, the img path. Load picture, this is the magic command. It takes that path and instantly loads the contact's photo into the IMG profile box on our form. Finally, we set the tag to an empty string. Since we are in search mode and not save mode, we clear this temporary marker to keep our form's logic clean. This simple check prevents the program from crashing if a contact doesn't have a photo assigned to them. Now that we've found the data and loaded the image, we need to wrap up the process. We switch our found signal to true. This tells the program that the search was successful. There's no need to keep looking. We use exit for to jump out of the loop immediately. This saves time and makes our code more efficient. But what if the loop finishes and our signal is still false? This is where the if not found block comes in. A message box pops up with a warning icon to let the user know, contact not found. To keep our interface professional, we reset everything. We clear all text boxes and use load picture, with no path to remove any old photo. This ensures that the user is never confused by old data from a previous search.